Hello, my name is Shirley Rouse. This is for Bible 525 Pulpit Ministry. My message tonight will be entitled, Now is Not the Time to Quit. And this is a message of encouragement. I hope it's a message of encouragement for you because I know that it has spoke to my heart. And my foundational scripture is found in 1 Kings chapter 19, verses 1 through 4, and I'm reading the NIV version. Now Ahab told Jezebel everything Elijah had done and how he killed all the prophets with the sword. So Jezebel sent a messenger to Elijah to say, May the gods deal with me, be it ever so severely, if by this time tomorrow I do not make your life like that of one of them. Elijah was afraid and ran for his life. When he came to Beersheba in Judah, he left his servant there, while he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness. He came to a broom bush, sat down under it, and prayed that he might die. I have had enough, Lord, he said. Take my life. I am no better than my ancestors. The subject of this sermon is Now is not the time to quit. Now is not the time to quit. There's a song that they used to sing years ago growing up in the Pentecostal church, in my father's church. And the older people would sing this song, Let Jesus fix it for you, for he knows just what to do. Whenever you pray, let him have his way, and let Jesus fix it for you. Life has a way of frustrating you beyond belief. Things can happen that make you wonder if you are doing the right thing. Bills become due before the money is in place. Relationships fall apart. Your health fails you. And all these things may make you want to quit. Just walk away from doing what God has called you to do. Let me make it a little bit more personable for my Regent University classmates. All of the homework, all of the studying, many times in working full-time jobs and families, and you're wondering, how can I go on with another class? And sometimes you say, well, maybe I'll take a break. But I've come to tell you today, now is not the time to quit. Now, time is an indefinite and continuous duration regarded as that in which events succeed one after another. And there is an old saying that I'm sure you've heard this: winners never quit and quitters never win. Keeping in mind that when the going gets tough, the tough get going. And on this Christian journey, there are bound to be moments when you want to quit, when you want to give up because of the circumstances. And every now and then, something or someone may try to block your pathway. And you throw up your hands in submission and say, I don't know how I'm going to make it. It is then that we have to lean and depend on God. My brothers and sisters, I want to remind you today that when things go wrong, and in life they sometimes will go wrong, when the road we're trotting on seems to be only uphill, and when the money and the debts are low, and we try to smile but we start to cry, we can take time to rest if we must. But I'm here to warn you, don't rest too long, because now is not the time to quit. In our text that I read in your hearing, the curtain goes up on this scene. We see Ahab telling Jezebel all that Elijah had done. Queen Jezebel gets mad and takes out a contract on the life of the man of God. Jezebel orders a hit on Elijah's life. And she makes a vow to Elijah that she was going to do to Elijah what she had done to the false prophets. When Elijah heard this from Queen Jezebel, when he heard the news about the hit placed on his life by the queen, he became fearful. He became despondent. He became overcome with anxiety and frustration, so much so that he abandoned his mission because the situation had gotten the best of him instead of him getting the best of his situation. Now, mind you, this is the same Elijah that called down fire from heaven in an earlier chapter. And my brothers and sisters, things will happen in life, but we are not to fear. And if God delivered us before, he will do it again. Luke chapter 12, verse 4 and 5 says, "And I say unto you, my friends, be not afraid of them that kill the body, and after that have no more that they can do. But I will forewarn you whom ye shall fear. Fear him, which after he hath killed hath power to cast into hell. Yea, I say unto you, fear him." Consequently, Elijah, after he got word of the queen hit being on him, Elijah flees 9 miles to Bathsheba, and he sits under a juniper tree, requesting from God, just let me die. And I can imagine he would say, enough is enough. I've done this, and now the queen has placed a hit on my life. I can't take it no more. So Lord, just let me die here in the desert. Now, let me talk a little bit about Elijah's plight. Elijah's plight. After finding out the queen had placed a contract on his life, Elijah resigned and ran away without first consulting God. Elijah's faith failed him. Elijah dwelt in a barren environment. Elijah failed to remember that God had fought his battles in the past and that God was more than capable of fighting his battle against the queen. Elijah resigned before the job was complete. Elijah put his agenda before God's agenda. In our Old Testament lesson, we see that Elijah, who had been God's fearless prophet, was asking God to let him quit, saying, Lord, I have had enough. Have you ever felt as if you had enough? Let me testify, I have. Have you ever felt defeated and all alone? Let me testify again, I have. And has the doom and gloom of depression ever caused you to ask the Lord like Elijah, Lord, take my life. I cannot go through this anymore. But thankfully, God decided not to entertain Elijah in his pity party. God was not finished with Elijah. And just as God isn't finished with Elijah, God is not finished with us. God also knew what Elijah needed in order to continue his journey. And after Elijah decided it's time to quit, he lay down, he fell asleep under the tree, and all at once an angel touched him and said, get up and eat. And Elijah looked around, and there by his head was a cake of bread baked over hot coals and a jar of water. And Elijah ate and drank. God will feed you in the desert. And then he lay back down, but God was persistent. So the angel of the Lord came back to him and said to him, get up and eat, for the journey is too much for you. Indeed, the journey was too much for Elijah, just as sometimes it is too much for us. Therefore, we are in need of the grace which the Lord provides. And the Lord is more than happy to offer it to us. His grace is sufficient to get us through anything that we have to go through. God's grace, His grace can get us through. Now, quitting What is this about quitting? Quitting sometimes can imply a lack of faith in God. Quitting can also sometimes be a sign that we lack confidence in ourselves. And then quitting is often associated with failure. And we know that in God there is no failure. God will sometimes send you right back into the battle. In verse 15, God sends Elijah right back where he came from and tells him in the 15th verse, and the Lord said unto him, Go, return on thy way to the wilderness of Damascus, and when thou comest, anoint Hazael to be king over Syria. And that 18th verse said, Yet I have left me 7,000 in Israel, all the knees which have not bowed unto Baal, and which every mouth hath not kissed him. Elijah thought, I'm the only prophet that's left, and he took off running for his life. But God said, I have 7,000 prophets in Israel. What we can't see is that God has angels there, has dispatched angels to our rescue. Jeremiah 1:8 says, Be not afraid of their faces, for I am with thee to deliver thee, saith the Lord. Be not afraid. If God told it to you, if God spoke it to you, he is well able to accomplish it. And we have to remember that for every mountaintop experience, we must go into the valley. David said, But yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, because thou art with me. When it appears that we can't make it anymore, wait on the Lord. In your valley experience, wait on the Lord, because he is there with you. Then Isaiah picked it up and said, But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. As we travel on this journey, it will get hard sometimes, and it has gotten hard. But we have to wait on God. David says in Psalm 31:24, Be of good courage, and he shall strengthen your heart, all ye that hope in the Lord. And then it said, In thee, O Lord, do I put my trust. Let me never be ashamed. Deliver me from thy righteousness. In thee, O God, do I put my trust. Therefore, I refuse to quit. I refuse to give up. I refuse to throw in the towel. Now is not the time to quit. It's no time to quit. Moses didn't quit. Abraham didn't quit. Daniel didn't quit. Now is not the time to quit. Jesus, my God, Jesus never quit. When he went to Calvary, he didn't quit. He just gave up the ghost and said, I'm going to take my rightful place now. And I've got a place prepared for you. And as I close this message, going back to the song that I started with, let Jesus fix it for you. He knows just what to do. Whenever you pray, let him have his way. No matter what the problem is, let Jesus fix it for you. Don't quit. Now is not the time to quit. Now is not the time to throw in the towel. Now is not the time to walk away. Now is not the time to say, what's the use? What are you going to do? I'm going to wait on God. I'm going to continue to pray. I'm going to continue to fast. I'm going to continue to read my word. I'm going to continue to seek God, because I know that he's right there with me. Now is not the time to quit.